In a world overrun with the fake, delusional, and disingenuous, he stands as a beacon of truth. He is Abuki Cabal. You are listening to Abuki Cabal.
Welcome to the Abuki Cabal Show.
What's happening, everybody? What's going on? Today we're going to take a look at another thing, another little topic that I came across as I was trolling the airwaves, and kind of makes me think about how people tend to go places and make those places just like wherever they came from. How it just doesn't really make sense to do that. If you're going to go someplace, you're going to live someplace different, or you're going to vacation someplace different, shouldn't you want to experience their culture, their languages, their foods, their dress, all of those things? Don't you want to experience those in their entirety and their purity, so that you get some bit of experience off of it, something new, some wisdom, a different perspective than the same old thing that you're used to being around? That's a part of why we do things differently. But it seems like we as Americans, when we go to these places, we tend to want them to be just like America. Do things exactly the way we want them to do it. And I think that's part of the reason why people don't really care for Americans. We tend to be like the old view of, say, New Yorkers, rude, pushy, depiction that you see like in movies and whatnot. It may not be real, but that's what they show. So that's what people think about us as Americans overseas. So, we're going to take a look at a young lady who is, I want to say she's working overseas, and she is an feminist. She tends to look at things from a certain perspective, and if it doesn't fit her hometown narrative, then she looks at it as a negative. And I say to that, these people have a right to run their countries the way they want to run their countries. If they don't like your ideology in their countries, and they see the negative effects of feminist ideologies in their country, and they don't want it, and their men don't want it, hey, it's not up to you. And if their women don't want it, they can leave the country. They can come over here and be just like you guys. So, again, I want to start out by, saluting everyone who supports the channel. I appreciate you guys. I can't even put it into words how much I appreciate you guys. Please, if you want to donate, if you want to buy me a coffee, hey, I love that caramel macchiato from Fenty from Starbucks there. When I get a chance to get through there, I get some good stuff, and not that goat tripe that I normally drink. But if you want to do that, hey, that's great. I appreciate it. If you want to donate to the channel, and so that I can you can support my efforts in trying to put this content out, I appreciate that as well. If you want to just hit me hit the sub, hit the likes, and get me, 100% on the subs and the likes, hey, I'd appreciate that. Try not to ask too much. I'm just glad you guys are here. So let's move along here, and we're going to get up to the topic at hand. And that is this young lady right here. She is basically talking about the new Korean president, as well as some of the feelings that they have towards some of the Western ideology that's leaking into their country regarding how women carry themselves. And we're going to take a look at that. I mean, that's the subject of a lot of conversation for the last couple of years here, and even beyond that. But I ain't gonna long stroke you, as the lead attorney says. Shout out to Lead. You guys go check out his channel. He's great. Love his channel, man. Highly entertaining. Love his unique spin on things. Appreciate everything you do, Lead. You guys check this out and tell me what you think. All righty. Let's get going here. And here we have the young lady here. And let's hear what she has to say.
Scandals and
Oh, fair use. Fair use. This is from Sisilessthan3's. I guess this is her channel. Go and check out her channel. Don't be mean. Just check out her channel. But as you can see that, there's a few things. A lot is about to change in Korea. Meet their new awful president. Okay. She has some other ones over here. 3% stalker murder in cases in Korea. Sorry. He wanted me to be his side chick. My married Korean coworker matched me on Tinder. So she has some funny little shows. But I think as of late, she is about to leave Korea because she doesn't like the way it's headed politically, as well as some other things I think that she talks about with regard to her job. I think she's teaching over there or something like that. But let's get into it.
Anti-feminist, misogynistic remarks. Yay. Buckle up.
Okay. Oh, she's getting going. Starting right away. Feminist, misogynistic comments in their country. The nerve of this young lady to be in these people's country and to ridicule them the way she does based on her Western beliefs. I think that's disrespectful, to say the least. But let's get going.
What's up, idols? It's Sisilessthan. What? What's up, idols? It's Sisilessthan3. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're gonna get a little political, y'all. South Korea just had their presidential election, and yikes. So first of all, neither candidate has been very popular. Even when I watched like Asia Boss interviews, they were saying it's like picking the lesser of the two evils. However, there are a few alarming things that both of them had in common. For example, they were both accused of being misogynistic, somewhat xenophobic. Yeah, that's a lot for me, being a black foreign female.
Okay, well, I've been to Korea, and this isn't new. They've always been xenophobic. They've never really been nice to foreigners. So, tell you a little bit about the time when I was there. I was there back in the 90s. And when I was there, they would be blunt about it. They would tell you that no Americans and no blacks in here. Tell you that in a minute. It was, they were more anti-American than anything. And this was South Korea. Okay. You could not go in their clubs. There were certain places you couldn't eat. There were certain places. I tried to go and get some film during that time because that was, prior to digital. Well, digital was out, but it was really expensive. So I tried to get some 35 millimeter film, and I was told that I couldn't come in there. No Americans, and they pushed me out and shut the door. Then, as we were trying to cross the street, and it was me and two other Marines that were there, and we were there doing an exercise with the people there, with their military, to protect them against the North. And basically, the actions and the feelings being there was you are at best a guest, and say we were trying to cross the street. So basically, as we were trying to cross the street, they were actively trying to hit us going across the street. They didn't care. There was no being courteous and allowing us to go ahead and cross the street. They were actively trying to knock us off. And basically, we got saved by a lieutenant that came out and grabbed us and asked us, what the fuck are we doing? Do you realize that these people will kill you over here? And they don't like you. And we basically got dressed down about how we should view being there, especially venturing outside of the normal areas where Americans were in that country. Now, here you have a young lady who is basically expecting a lot, from people. I mean, you going over there, you should, stay in your place when you're over there. And if you don't, they will quickly let you know how it is for you to, what it is to be a foreigner inside their country. They are under no obligation to do what you want or to address women the way you want. And you see this around the world where you see, they're trying to export this matriarchal vision to every country outside to supposedly the female's benefit. But all you have to do is look at the history of it here, and it's not benefiting them that much. I'm going to do another video where another young lady was talking, and she's from Hong Kong. She's saying the same thing. I value my time more than I value having all this money and having this title behind this job. But time after time, she had to, gauge whether, she should take the money or do what she felt was best for her, what she felt like was more important to her, which was to have her time and to spend time with her husband. Okay? So let's get back into this.
Female. The results came in last night, and Yoon Suk-yeol became the winner. He's also the first conservative since Park Geun-hye was impeached a few years ago. He defeated Lee Jae-myung. It was very close, neck and neck. So I figured for this video, I would just kind of, first of all, I want to say, young people really need to get out there and vote. And it sucks because old people know how important it is and how fragile democracy is, so they take it a lot more seriously than we do. But the thing is, when you're a younger person and you don't vote, you're letting all these...
Okay. She's saying all of this, but I mean, is democracy in danger over there? Or is it her version that she sees in her head that's in danger, that is more positive towards her ideology with regard to women there? Because it sounds like that's what it is, but let's move on.
Older people stuck in their ways make decisions for you and make decisions that are going to impact your life, and no bueno. No, you need to get out and vote, people. So I wanted to talk about politics.
So the old people don't matter. The perspective that they bring to the game doesn't matter. The young people just need to come in and basically just overthrow that and basically bring in the feminist ideologies that she wants to come into the country. But maybe there's more. I mean, maybe I'm missing something. Let's see.
In South Korea with this new president-elect, the impact of his campaign and administration might have on like foreigners, women, people, you know, life in Korea, how it may or may not change in the near future. But before we get into that, this video is sponsored by Teeny Blends, y'all.
If you have blackheads or large pores or both, you...
Yeah. Let's get on past that. Sorry.
It's 1 5-year term, so they can't ever like run for re-election. Honestly, I didn't know much about this election until both of them said some less than respectful or kind words about the Ukrainian invasion and war situation going on right now. Hold on, I want to read this quote. I don't want to mess this up. So first of all, Lee Jae-myung said, Volodymyr Zelensky, who lacked knowledge in politics and diplomacy, provoked Russia. The Ukraine president is responsible for the outbreak of war. Yikes. So then Yoon Suk-yeol, Mr. Yoon, decided to be like, oh, I apologize on behalf of my counterpart. How disrespectful. And then people dug up the fact that on his Facebook, he more or less said the same thing. Yoon basically blames the invasion of Ukraine because Ukraine didn't join NATO, like they haven't been trying already for the past few years, but that's what he cited on Facebook. So unfortunately, a lot of people have noticed that misogyny and feminism is like the core of this campaign, of this whole election cycle, because
there you go. See, she brought up all this other stuff, which it's really not important to her. She's just trying to add to her core principles here, which is misogyny and feminism, which is being forced out of the country at this time because they don't want it.
Fact, not very fun at all. Like 90% of Korean men in their 20s are anti-feminists or against feminism because they see it as not an act of equality or an effort for equality, but women trying to do reverse discrimination against men and take their jobs. I wish I was making that up.
Our butts off. Now these
female
folk come in and we can't get work nowhere. Well, they took our jobs. They took your jobs. They took your jobs too.
All right, so I'm gonna go through a bit of his background.
Okay. You're in a whole different country, sweetie. Whole different country. How do you know that this isn't having ill effects on the Korean way of life? You're an American and you're over there as a guest and temporarily. You know, this isn't going to affect you. And if you don't like it, come home. You know, come home. There's plenty of feminism here for you. You can get fucking bowls and bowls of it here. So why are you trying to go over there and basically impose your way on somebody else? You know, hey, and this is not personal. I'm just saying that, hey, your politics is not their politics. And these 20-year-old men, you know, are not under any obligation to see the world the way you see it. You know, you're clearly not trying to see it from their perspective, but obviously, they are doing a better job than we're doing over here because we can't get 90% of men to do anything over here. You know, half of us are in line with an ideology that doesn't even suit equality in any way. Some of us are just basically servants and to whatever matriarchal system is in place, and dare say anything about any woman who is out of line, and you almost be a proxy put in the ground behind talking about these, you know, these women who are, you know, beyond approach. Now, is that fair? You know, no. You know, you want an outcome that is not good for these men in this country. And now, you know, you're rolling your eyes and you think that, you know, they should somehow see it from your perspective. Sorry, they're not, you know, and I don't feel sorry for you. You know, they're doing what is best for their country and what's best for the birth rates in their country, which are going down because they're subscribing to the ideology that is also driving birth rates down here in this country and all around the world. Without birth rates, you have no humans. So instead of thinking about yourself and your selfish needs, think about the needs of humanity as a whole.
Some scandals, his campaign platforms, and how this may or may not impact and affect foreigners, and just life in Korea, how it may or may not change in the near future with a new president. So Yoon Suk-yeol is a conservative, but a lot of people consider him to be like a conservative populist, like kind of just drifting to whatever is popular and whatever people want to hear. So he also has like no political background. He was born December 18, 1960 in Seoul, and he actually has like a law background. He was a lawyer.
See how she tries to diminish his status by saying he has no political background. He's a law. Newsflash, darling. All of the politicians here in the United States are lawyers. Having a legal background is almost tantamount to having a political background in this country and pretty much everywhere in the world.
And he actually studied at SNU, Seoul National University. There's not a whole lot I like about this candidate at all, or president-elect, but one thing I did kind of find very, very interesting. I don't know if you guys have heard about this story, but after I watched this movie, Taxi Driver, 운전사, it's about like the Gwangju uprising in like the 1980s, like 70s, early 80s. They actually had a dictator back then. Yoon and his friends held like mock trials where they called for the execution of the dictator at the time. And a lot of people speculate that because of, you know, having those mock trials and stuff, he tried to pass the bar 9 years. It took him 9 years to pass the second part of the bar exam. So yeah, since this Yoon...
So here we go. So since it took him 9 years to pass the bar, I mean, if it was a female, do you think that people would say it took her 9 years to pass the bar? They would just say she passed the bar. You know, there are people that it takes, you know, years for them to pass, you know, their medical boards, or sometimes their nursing boards. You know, and they may be circumstances that have nothing to do with whether they are competent. It just may be. I mean, these tests are shuffled around. There are things that go into testing that affect whether you pass or not. Okay, and she's not telling you the other aspect of that. But to try to say that he's not competent because it took him 9 years, he passed it. You know, after 9 years, it gets harder every year that it goes past. So it doesn't get easier. So really, it depends on how you look at that. You know, because if a person passes after 9 years and hadn't been in school for 9 years and going about his daily life and then still having to study for the bar and then finally passes it, even though people are putting adversity in front of him, and I doubt it's because of his mock trials on a dictator who used to be over the country before it became democratic. I doubt that's really the case. I think they kind of like the democratic process the way it is right now and the protections that it affords them. Okay. But that's her perspective. And I think she's an educator. One of the most educated.
Man has no political background whatsoever. One thing that I think is really important for you guys to understand is conservatives and conservatism involves like strengthening the ties between the US, so yeah, I'm not sure where he fully stands on foreigners just yet, because aside from wanting to strengthen military and allied ties with the US, he hasn't really said anything much about foreigners. One of the things that made Moon Jae-in not very popular is because he was being very friendly with North Korea and trying to like de-escalate and calm down and negotiate and talk with them, whereas a lot of conservatives just say like F North Korea, we will strengthen ourselves with the US. And one of the things Yoon has also said is that strengthening our ties with the US will keep us safe from North Korea. So that's all we need. We just need to stay strong with the US.
Okay. You see how she's belittling that? I want you guys to, take a little time to go back and look at the history and the atrocities committed in North Korea during the Korean War. My grandfather fought in that war. He got a Bronze Star fighting that war. Barely came out of it alive. Wouldn't be here without him. Also, when I was over there, I had the I wouldn't say the pleasure, but the experience of having to go through that country. And if you look at the countryside has little little knots on it. I mean, it's just like pimples on the countryside. It's beautiful. You look out into the horizon, and what you don't realize is that every one of those little blemishes on the ground is a grave where people were buried where they dropped. The way I found out that these were graves is that when I was in the field and sleeping out there, I was sleeping on top of one of these hills until after one of the guys who had been over there before expressed to me that I was sleeping on top of a grave. Okay. And I can't tell you how that makes you feel and the gravity of the situation of seeing thousands of graves in every different direction going off until the ground drops off. Okay. And she has no perspective on that, you know, and there are reasons why these people are so deathly afraid of the North. And what she's not showing you is that they're still in a state of combat readiness. They have anti-aircraft guns on top of their high rises, on top of their skyscrapers. Okay. They are still in a state of readiness. They still have North Korean spies who get down past the border and who have infiltrated down into the South as sleeper agents to basically undermine whatever they're tasked to accomplish. Okay. But she doesn't care anything about that because she's comfortable in the safety and the security that country and that America affords that country under threat of we will invade if you try to go beyond the parallel. Okay? That is the line that neither side can cross or war will begin. All right. So let's move on.
He also demanded that the U.S. would redeploy nuclear tactical weapons on the peninsula. And of course he said like, oh, U.S. will do this. And the U.S. said, no, we're not. And he never brought it up again. It's no secret that Moon Jae-in was kind of distancing himself from the U.S. and like trying to work this out on his own, which it sucks because I thought Moon Jae-in was a pretty good dude. He valued a lot of women's issues and listened and cared. But these days, apparently... See,
this is all about women's issues in a country where she is a guest. I'm sure she didn't vote in that election. She can't vote in that election. She's not a citizen there. You know, so why are you upset about this? Are you painting that much for the Korean women that you want them to be Americanized? Because that's what it sounds like to me. You're dismissing all of their history, dismissing their security concerns, dismissing all context behind some of the things that you have issues with. And the reason why they want these tactical nuclear weapons is so that they can stem the tide of the endless flow of soldiers that will come through areas that they came through in the First Korean War. We know exactly how they will come over land, and we know that we'll only be able to hold them back for so long without tactical nuclear weapons or negotiations. So that's the part that she doesn't understand. That's the context that she's not given. But let's move on.
The only like main issues that people care about, like rising house costs, youth unemployment is really high, stagnant economic growth, things like that. So now we'll get into some of the new president's scandals and anti-feminist, misogynistic remarks.
Because women love scandals and love anti-feminist remarks. That's more important than anything.
Yay, buckle up. On January 7, 2022, he wrote on his Facebook page, "Abolish the Ministry of Women and Family." While a feminist organization called it hate politics, he has been labeled as an AWOL anti-feminist and said the South Korean women do not suffer systematic discrimination. You also got to keep in mind, South Korea is a country where there actually are a lot of anti-Me Too movements. I wish I could roll the tape.
Yeah, let's look at that. Hey, yay team. American guys, you know, These black men, you guys take note. That's what you're supposed to be doing out there. You ain't supposed to be, non-visible. You're supposed to be visible, making sure that your concerns are being addressed by your government, by these political parties. Okay? That's the difference between feminists and men. They get out and they make noise. They get out and they caucus. They take over these parties. They make sure that their needs are going to be addressed, and then they don't address yours at all, because they feel like if my needs are addressed, then everything's fine, and the men and the boys win too. But we know that is statistically false. But let's take a look at this poll that she put up here. South Korea's young men are more opposed to feminism than older generations. See, because the older generations thought that, hey, it's okay. We'll let them, we'll let them do what they want to do. If they want to go to school, they want to do whatever we'll let them do it. But now they've seen the ill effects of this American feminism, and they've shared that information with these boys who are coming up. And these boys are like, not in my future, not in my future. Okay. And you look at this from the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. Okay. So, they've seen enough data to be able to make a decision and say that we don't want it. Okay. I'm not mad at this at all. We have some of the same issues in our community where, E. Franklin Frazier, the Monahan Report, the Kerner Commission, all these people have said the same thing. And here we are in 2022, and things are worse. Now, I wonder how much worse it is if they go from the 20s up to 2022, and let's see how bad it is in Korea. I'm sure it's pretty tastily, bad. So let's move on here.
So one thing that happened recently that wasn't great, not really trying to say it's his fault, but his wife, Yoon's wife, threatened to jail news reporters who spoke negatively about her husband. She said, if I make it to the Blue House, I will put them in jail, talking about the reporters. And another thing that's interesting, they don't really say all the names of the people here. And if you guys know who I'm talking about, please let me know in the comments. But Mr. Yoon showed strong support for a politician who is now jailed and he's always been known to be very dismissive towards the Me Too movement. This Mr. Yoon guy, to me, in my humble opinion, seems to be one of these people that doesn't really have any key issues or key platforms. Like, it's like Hamilton.
When all is said and all is done, Jefferson has beliefs, Burr has none.
And he has no political or presidential background experience whatsoever. For those who are, planning to go to Korea over the next year, within the next 5 years, because he will be president until 2027, this is the new president. So thanks for watching. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.
Okay. So what do you guys think about that? Don't come to Korea because, it's not, they're not going to be a feminist friendly region anymore. And, he just doesn't believe anything, but she didn't offer up his platform or any of that. We didn't see any of his information, and she dismissed his wife's efforts to protect him against feminists. So, I don't know. It just seems a little one-sided to me, and, I kind of get this vibe from her channel, but I may be covering some more. I may even get off into this one. He wanted me to be his side chick, in Korea, But anyway, there's my take on it. I don't know what more how much more energy I can give it. She's cute, she's little, She has a cute little view of the world. I don't know. I just, I don't know. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. It just seems a little weird to me. You know, Americans going over to somebody else's country and telling them what they can't do. And, you know, I salute these guys for, you know, telling her, you shall not pass. You know, it's just doesn't really make very much sense to me. You know, does it make sense to you? I don't know. Okay, well, you know, hey, you guys like, share, and subscribe, as it's been fun. I appreciate it. Again, you guys coming and hanging out with me and everything, and see you next time.
I feel like a motherless child, a long way from home, a long way from